He brings the changes of seasons and times. He installs and disposes kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those with discernment. He reveals deep and secret things. He knows what lies in the darkness, and light dwells with him. Daniel 2:21-22. In 162 BC, with help from Polybius, Demetrius I escapes from Rome and heads home. Alcimus, who is an alleged descendant of Aaron, seeks an audience with Demetrius in order to seize the office of Kohen HaGadol, or high priest, from Menelaus in 161 BC, which is granted. That same year, Regent Lysias and Antiochus V are executed by his uncle Demetrius I. In 160 BC, Demetrius I sends Bacchus and Alcimus to attack the Maccabees. After killing many at Mesaloth and Arbela, they besieged the holy city and marched to Berea 20,000 strong. Upon seeing the army approach, Judah's 3,000 soldiers are reduced by cowardice to 800. From the morning to the evening, the Maccabean army, which is outnumbered 25-1, battle and defeats their enemies, crushing the right wing along with Bacchus and chasing them to Ashdod. Once at Ashdod, the left wing attacks the rear and kills Judah, effectively winning the battle. Jonathan and Simon bury their brother in the family tomb at Modin. As a famine sweeps the land, Bacchus kills many of Judah's supporters, creating a distress not seen since Malachi fell silent in his prophecies. To counter the idolatrous reforms that Bacchus is bringing, Jonathan is selected as the new leader. In 159 BC, Bacchus returns to the holy city and establishes garrisons at Jericho, Emmaus, Beth-Horn, Bethel, Timnath, Pherathon, and Tethon. He also fortifies Bethzur and Gazara in the citadel while storing food there too. Later that year, Alcimus begins to tear down the wall of the inner court of the sanctuary in order to blend idolatry and righteous worship together when he suffers a paralytic stroke and dies. After learning of the death of Alcimus, Bacchus returns to Demetrius I. Following these events, leaders of the enemies of the Maccabees plot with Demetrius to capture the entire rebel force and Jonathan. Upon learning of the plot, Jonathan has 50 leaders executed for treason and withdraws with his brother Simon and their men to the fortress Bethbassa. During the battle, Jonathan leaves his brother in the city and attacks the enemies with a small force. Upon being defeated, Bacchus executes most of the people who wanted him to return to the country, releases prisoners of war, and establishes a treaty between himself and Jonathan. In 153 BC, through a vein of vengeance from the family of Demetrius and help from Rome, Autolus II and Ptolemy VI, Alexander Balas arises as a rival king to Demetrius I. Alexander, claiming to be the son of Antiochus IV, conquers Acco and sets up his rival kingdom. As a civil war begins in 152 BC, Jonathan Maccabeus suggests that Demetrius remove some of his army in Judea so he would have more soldiers to fight Alexander with. Alexander, in response, appoints Jonathan, who was of Zadok's line, general and Kohen HaGadol, to which Jonathan sends Alexander Jewish troops. Upon learning this, Demetrius writes him a letter granting Judea a total tax exemption, the removal of Greek soldiers from the citadel in the holy city, the emancipation of all Jewish slaves, the ban on Greek authorities harassing the Jewish citizens on their festivals, and Bolt establishes a Jewish support group of 30,000 Jewish soldiers and officers for the imperial army and imperial administration. The annexation of the three districts formerly part of Samaria, the establishment of the Kohen HaGadol over all Jewish citizens in the empire, a yearly allowance of $93,900 from the royal coffers, and the cancellation of the yearly $31,300 tax by the imperial officials on the temple and all Jewish debtors. Finally, any buildings to be renovated or rebuilt in the city are to be taken out of the royal treasuries. According to this deal, Jonathan does not reply to it. Here is the final conclusion. Now that you have heard everything, fear the Lord and keep his mitzvot. This is what being human is all about. For the Lord will bring to judgment everything we do, including every secret, whether good or bad. Ecclesiastes 12:13-14.